We are back with our Survivor 42 rankings. Just Mike and I tonight as Fanguy has poker going on.
Ooh.
Aspen, I don't know what she's doing. But, we called it, well, it wasn't on camera, but you called it after our recording last week that Aspen's not going to show up. She's going to lose one of her players and Aspen's not going to be here. Well, look at that.
Yeah, I mean, that's not why. It's because she said she had a bunch of shit going on. But I'm like, well, you're finally gonna lose someone, and it's gonna be like, oh no, you're losing someone. You're not showing up.
How did you feel about High's exit?
I think I ranked him higher than everybody else did last week, and it really was just because he was playing a good game. But like, this was the week where he got his downfall because he was playing a good game. Like, that's why he got targeted. So,
do you think it was the right choice for certain players to
I think
high?
I think it depends on the person. For Mike, it was a terrible choice. For most other people, I think it was probably the right move for them because they're not beating him at the end. Jonathan needs shields, and High was a strategic shield, but Jonathan was like the other option for the vote, and High was going for him. So, I mean, he can't really say it was the wrong move at that point.
Yeah, Jonathan didn't really have a choice, I guess.
No.
I feel like it was maybe... I mean, Romeo voted the right way, so he knew to vote out Jonathan. But I don't understand what Dre and Mike are doing. Because these 4 people were on an original tribe, and now it's 4 versus 3.
Yeah, well, I think that credit just has to go to Omar. Omar is he's playing a fantastic game. So I think he's going on and on about how he's got all these great connections in the minority, and he's got all of the people outside of the main group feeling like they're good and they're on his side. And like, even I feel like just everyone feels like he's on Omar's side right now. So
yes,
he's doing great, and
that is why we compared him to Dot 2 weeks ago. I think you weren't here on that one, but Dot did that for a while.
Yeah, no, for sure. Dot's very good at making people feel like he's on their side when he's not. I've experienced it firsthand in online battle. I'm like, dude, Dot's like the one person who's got my back, and like Dot was just going on and on about trying to get me out. So, no, people like that are dangerous for sure.
Yes. All right. Well, we will begin with our bottom spot. Well, first of all, this is just our rankings, obviously, and we were pretty spot on. Our rankings are almost exactly the same, except 2 people. So
okay.
And in last place is Jonathan.
Yeah, I think the only way he makes the end is if he comps out, and if he does comp out, or at least comps the final 4, and which is just another. If you get to final 4, you basically get an extra competition, in my opinion, because that's the stupidest twist in the world, in my opinion. But whatever.
Yes.
So he's only got to win a few more challenges at the end, but I don't think he's ever going to win this jury over. Literally, his own allies, his best friends, his closest friends in the game are basically calling him a dumbass. And I'm sorry, but like, if Lindsay and Omar end up on this jury, they're not going to respect Jonathan for outplaying them. They're just going to be like, dude, it should have been us there. You're a dumbass. You're not playing the strategic game, because he's just not going to win votes. And those are like votes he needs. He's not going to win this season. So that's why
I agree. I think, like we talked about last week, Xander, he's giving the Xander vibes if he does make the end. And it's starting to look like he might make the end, unfortunately. I thought that for sure his target has to grow big enough for them to realize that he has to go. And this was their opportunity to do that. Because now he could just win the next immunity, and then he's here for a few more days, and maybe somebody else becomes a target. It's like so annoying.
I feel like he's going to be a 0 vote getting finalist. That's what I feel like his end path is at this point, which is just, it's so annoying because I know for a fact my mom was bitching that Xander lost last time. She's gonna bitch that John lost this time. Jonathan lost.
Why was she bitching that Xander lost last time?
She was convinced he played the best game out of anybody. So I have to sit there and try to explain why he didn't, and now I'm gonna have to do that again if Jonathan is indeed a 0 vote.
Does she think Jonathan's playing a good game? She's fallen into the casual trap, I guess.
Well, I mean, she is. So, yeah. Despite her having seen more seasons than I have,
I think this is the worst. This is worse than Xander, though, because I feel like Jonathan, all he is good at competitions.
I feel like actually Jonathan has a really good social game, but he's
Um,
just so dumb. I don't want to call people dumb from a edited reality TV show. However, he gives off that impression of unintelligence, and when half this cast are like Ivy League graduates, apparently, it's just not going to work. You know, I just he's not going to win the season. So
I was wondering about Jonathan. Is maybe the reason his target isn't growing faster than I thought it would is because. Do you think, like within the game, that they think he won't give votes at the end? Do you think he gives off that impression?
I think he's yeah. I think Omar is convinced he can beat him. I think Lindsay's convinced she can beat him, and they're kind of the ones controlling certain things. I think High was convinced he could beat him. Like, and I don't really know what anyone else necessarily was sitting strategically. So it makes sense why he wasn't getting targeted, wasn't getting votes. He's just falling into the Xander trap. And it really comes down to, in my opinion, in a game with a jury, you have to be targeted at some point to win. I think if no one ever wants to vote you out, it's really hard to convince a jury that you were a legitimate threat. Like like you could just come into a season with 19 people. All those 19 people could kind of have a tacit agreement to just look at the 20th person and just say, "Yeah, we're not voting for this person and we're not voting for this person to win." Like and like even if it's just subconscious, I feel like you could play a masterful game, but if no one realizes it ever and targets you ever, people are just going to think you floated, whether or not
Yeah,
that's true.
and he's played far from a Masro game too. But yeah,
From
you
what
played in
we've
a lot
seen.
of orgs. Like, what gives off that vibe though? Like when you think that if they go to the end, it doesn't matter.
Like I said, I think if you just don't get targeted, like I've sat like the way I play, I get targeted a lot. So I've had my partner from day one come to the end with me. We made all decisions together. They probably talked me out of doing stupid shit. Like they probably played a better game than me. They might not have got like hardly any votes. I got a lot of votes. I might have even had to play an idol to save myself once or twice. But guess what? I get the votes at the end because I was the big imposing target. And so like people don't respect it if they don't like think you're a threat. Because if like I spend the whole game convinced, oh my god, um, we'll just say Dot. I'm just like, oh my god, Dot's gonna win. Dot's gonna win. Everyone loves Dot. And if I'm just like, we need to get Dot out every week, and I fail to get Dot out, and I'm on the jury, and all these people let Dot get to the end, I'm probably gonna vote for Dot because like he has this narrative of he was a
It's
threat.
true.
I warned you this is gonna happen. I'm gonna vote for him now. But people are probably just not thinking Jonathan's gonna get votes at the end. Probably rightfully so. I mean, if you said at that tribal where he killed his game, torpedoed his game in the 5-person tribal, are you going to think he's going to get jury votes? No.
It's
If
true.
weren't at the tribal and you hear what happened, do you think he's going to get jury votes? No. I think best case scenario, he's placing third, maybe second.
Yeah, I agree. And that's a good point. I do think it's kind of like just being out there. You're right. Or even just socially more out there. And I don't know if Jonathan, as much as he wanted to say he's going to make his big move in that past episode where he blew up his game, he's not out there really. This was the first time we saw him as somewhat of a target.
It's just like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you just push someone as a target constantly, they're going to become a target. If you push someone as a goat, they're going to become a goat, whether they were actually a goat or not. As long as like multiple people are doing it, or people are just agreeing with the first person to put the idea out there, it just becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
All right. Well, number 6, honestly, becoming quite another goat. There's a lot of goats in this game. If Days was here, he'd be calling everybody a goat. Romeo is up next in 6th place, who also has like no agency in this game, it feels like.
Where did I put Romeo? Oh, I put Romeo at 6. Okay, yeah, this is. I again feel like Romeo is another player who's unlikely to win the game. I think he's more likely to win than Jonathan. But who is like think about it? Who's Romeo going to beat? We'll throw Jonathan. He say he beats Jonathan. Who's the other player Romeo beats? I think it might be the next person on my list that he has a shot at beating, but I don't think he beats. I don't think he beats Omar. I don't think he beats Marianne. I don't think he beats Lindsay. I don't think he beats Drea. So, what's his like realistic path to victory? Yeah, I'm struggling to see it. So, for that reason, he's sitting in 6 because when there's only one and maybe 2 people you could beat at Final Tribal Council, you're not really doing anything. He has no agency.
Yeah.
No one he's not controlling anything. He has 0 agency.
He's always on the wrong side of the vote.
That's it too. Like being on the right side of the vote, I think is overrated. I've said this 100 times. I'll say
it is. I agree with you on that.
But you need to do something at some point. And unless he pulls off some insane moves in the end game, he's going to have a very, very tough time convincing a jury to vote for him.
Yep, you said it. He's similar to Jonathan and our next person. I feel like all 3 of our bottom 3 are the same. They all have this rough path if they make the end to actually get the votes to win, and he is another one. And yeah, because if this was a final 2, maybe he would have a better shot at getting to the end with people he needs to beat. But in a final 3, is he really going to sit next to 2 people that he can beat? I don't see it happening.
Right.
Any other thoughts on Romeo? We didn't get a lot from him in this episode, honestly.
No, I mean that about sums it up. I mean, good on him. You made an enemy in High, and you got him on the jury. That's like his small, I think, saving grace. Is like, I think High still respected him despite all of their arguments and differences. So if High becomes this really strong voice of Ponderosa, maybe. I'm just saying, in a world of like the actual game playing out on the island, from what the producers have chosen to show us of Romeo, no. I don't think.
And they shouldn't. High and Romeo should just never target each other. They were on the right. They voted together in this vote, and they just. I don't think they ever had it together to rally votes with them.
Yeah.
In this vote.
Yeah, I don't think that was a good play for really. That's the whole thing. You don't want to get in a like anger like head-to-head battle at like the final 9. Because it only really works if people are overplaying and want to keep you around because you'll never work with person X. But I honestly feel like we were shown it overblown maybe a little bit in the edit, and I think if they did work together. They worked together to vote out Roxroy. That's why like you're not going to keep them around because you know that push comes to shove, yeah, they're going to work together. So
yeah. All right, number 5 is Mike.
And I have a tough time putting him here, but this was a really bad episode for him.
It was. Like, well, he's kind of an emotional player is really what it comes down to. But also the edit is like, this can't be good for him because he's like, I'm nobody's puppet. And then he's not High's puppet, but he's clearly Omar's puppet in this episode. And his edit was just not great.
Yeah. That's a really bad look. And I've been like defending Mike in weeks prior because I think he has a really, really good social game. But here's the problem. When you base your social game strongly and your strategic game strongly upon loyalty, and you promise most of your starting tribe that you would stick with them till the end, and then you're the last member of your tribe left at the final 7, that's too early to be breaking those bonds. Now, if he had voted out High at final, well, you can't vote people out at final 4, of course. But if he had helped, let's say he beats High in fire making at final 4, and he's like, sorry, dude, but I got to do what I got to do to win. And he, like that, I think is fine. But you don't turn on Roxroy, who you gave your word to, and then you don't turn on High literally the week after because one person said one negative thing to you, and you were instantly convinced from your day one, like allegedly this really, really strong ally of yours. That's just bad. Like if someone comes to me about my day one ally doing shady shit about me, I'm more likely to confront them than just like, yeah, I'm immediately going to vote them off, or I'll just laugh the person off. I don't know why everyone just like is so convinced Omar can't tell a lie, or Mike doesn't know that other people can lie to him. This was a really bad look for him, and I just think it just completely torpedoed. They wouldn't have shown us that if Mike was winning. They would have just said like, Mike's like, High's a big threat to my game. He needs to go. They wouldn't have shown us Omar just completely playing him, where Mike gets to parade on a camp, very proud that he uncovered this deception and that he's now playing his own game. Well, you're not playing your own game. You're playing Omar's game.
Yeah.
So
It was really, truly bad at it because he just looked gullible, but also he was actually a puppet in this episode, even though he was saying he wasn't. Not great from the
yeah,
enemy.
not a good look.
But yeah, you hit the nail on the head. With if he's going to keep talking about loyalty, then yeah, you kind of have to be loyal if you're actually playing a loyal game. It's not boding well for two different reasons. He now has his closest ally gone, so he has to probably use his idol soon, maybe if it's not stolen. And even if he does make the end, now he could have High against him in the jury. Honestly,
Yeah, that's just not a good look. But I still think he has a better chance than Romeo, a better chance than Jonathan, because again, he's a likable guy. The problem is he looked really, really bad, and he just like it's going to be really hard to sell. My thing is, if he came into the jury just going like, I had you all like loving me, and look at I turned on people when I thought it was right, and it worked out for me because I'm here and you're not. But he's going to probably go to jury and say, I'm the most loyal guy. And the jury's going to go, no, you're not. Hello. So, yeah, it's just unfortunate.
All right. Well, we're going to do two at a time here because this is where our rankings got flipped. So we have a tie because it's just our rankings. So it is Lindsay and Drea tied at 3.
Okay, so you put Drea 3 and Lindsay 4, and I flipped the 2. Okay.
Yes.
Makes sense.
We can start with Lindsay because this was finally her episode. She finally had an episode to shine. She was winning challenges. She was looking smart by throwing Jonathan under the bus because he's dumb. She had a lot going on here.
Yeah, and that's really why I had to kind of put her above Drea. I could see Lindsay winning the Erica game. We've drawn the comparisons before on this podcast. If Lindsay wins this game, I think she's playing a very good game. So I will be happy from that standpoint. But I will be furious because once more, the editors have failed to show us anything relevant.
Yeah, it would be an even worse winner's edit than Erica because we didn't start getting to see Lindsay even more until these last couple episodes. She just looked like she was a Jonathan and Omar follower for the first 7 or 8 episodes.
And I mean, she's a challenge beast. Her and Drea are by far the 2 strongest like women in this cast right now. The only person who really matches them, I think, at all is Jonathan, and because he's just a freak of nature. But I think like Lindsay and Drea both are just really good challenge competitors, and we know Survivor loves their balance challenges. And I said this several times while I was watching it, like women are just better at balance challenges. Like it's a fact. Just they are gonna win them more. I mean, that's these 2 really could be flipped. I think it's fair that they're tied here at 3 between our 2 rankings. I could definitely see either of them win. If either of them wins, I would have liked to have seen more of either of their games. I mean, Drea is amassing an army of advantages, and that is why I think she's going to lose. But if she won, why are we not seeing more out of her? Like, she's playing a crazy good game. And here's another annoying thing about the editing from this season and why it's hard a lot of time to rank people on the higher end of the spectrum when they don't do like massive fuck ups is who the hell's aligned with who? Besides, like, we know Jonathan and Omar, Lindsay, and all of them are together. Where does Drea fit into that? Because she's voting with them. She's getting roped in. Why are we not being shown? I mean, we see Drea and Lindsay. Like, they're like, we need to get High out so we can work together with our new steal a vote. Why are we not being shown that these 2 are like apparently really strongly aligned. Why are we not being shown this?
I have no idea.
Especially if one of these two wins the game.
Yeah, that's why I still see it's so hard for me to see Lindsay winning. But this show sucks with women editing so bad that I certainly wouldn't be surprised if Lindsay ended up winning despite having no edit. It would not shock me. The one reason I flipped this though is because I didn't like when Lindsay told the entire advantage to Mike and Omar. Like, why is she giving away her entire advantage? Like, she could have just said, "We have this 3 advantage, and if we decide to use it, then it becomes this." I didn't like that she talked about it all the way down to if she has it by herself, she has immunity.
Well, they're probably going to wonder why they get more powers if they vote people out, and are they really going to believe if? I mean, she could have lied and said, "When there's one left, it's useless. So you need to work with at least one of the people."
Yeah.
But it's easier said than done, obviously.
It's just it's a thing with me. I hate when people talk about their immunity idols.
Yeah,
especially something that they're not close aligned with.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure we're going to talk about with the next person why I gave her a lot of props this week. So,
do you have anything else on Drea?
I feel like the sad thing is I think Lindsay's more likely to win than Drea simply because, again, this is like editing. If Drea's the winner, I feel like we would have seen more of her, like, just because she's holding all these advantages. Like, we would know who she's aligned with. With Lindsay, we at least know who she's aligned with. And I just feel like they just don't know how to edit women. So I think it's possible that the winner is one of those two. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much for Drea. I just kept her high because I usually go back and forth with her. So I just decided to keep her high for once because it's not like she went down in this episode. I didn't like that we didn't get a whole lot of aftermath from that last tribal because I'm sure there was some shit said about Jonathan, but whatever.
Well, they don't. That's the whole thing is there definitely was, but they're not going to like show us them trashing their golden boy on TV because that's all it is. Like, literally everyone's just going to sit there trashing Jonathan. But they're just not going to show us that because they love Jonathan. But they couldn't not show us the tribal because they wanted their big inclusive moment. Plus, it's a big moment of the season with two girls played. Obviously, they had to show us that for a multitude of reasons. But they're just mad it happened to Jonathan. Like, Probst is sitting there at tribal, just like clenching his teeth, and he's just furious because his best part of the season is getting trashed for calling people aggressive when they weren't and being just a complete fucking dumbass in that situation.
Yep. All right. Number 2, she found another idol. Mary Ann comes in at number 2.
And the best thing is she says, "I'm not telling anyone." Good on you.
Exactly. Because I mean, the first go round she didn't have a choice because it's a fucking beware shit. But now, yeah, that's the right thing to do. Don't talk about it.
I'm a big fan of not telling people about advantages. I mean, I really am. Like, I had way back in season 1, I had an idol, and I didn't tell people about it until I told like Just Infinity about it right before I played it because the only reason I knew I was being targeted at that point. So I wanted to cause chaos anyways, but like, you just don't tell people about idols when you have idols. You tell at most one person, and the thing is, you usually can't trust like the one person. Yeah. I mean, if I like to have a really strong duo partner, and it's that's how I like to play these but the thing is, it's so much harder when you're actually playing for $1 million.
True.
Because it's just like you're plus you're sitting there for 39 days. Well, okay, 28 days. What the hell they've got to cut down to today? It's like you get told a secret. It's really, really hard to keep it. There's nothing going on. You're sitting on an island most of the day. You're just starving and tired and bored, and people are just talking, and you just want to talk. If you just want to talk strategy, like you just really want to spill the secret. So like, if she actually manages to keep the secret, props. But that's the whole thing, is if you tell one person, they're going to want to spill the secret.
I do fear that she might end up telling someone, especially Omar, because everybody tells him everything.
I have faith in Marianne that she's going to tell no one. I have faith in her, and that's why I've ranked her so high. It's good on her finding the idol. She seems to be in one of the better positions as this huge alliance just continually crumbles. The one that she and Romeo were not in, and they're still here, and the people from the alliance keep getting picked off. And then she's getting involved in these plans. I told you it's a good time to pick up the outsiders. So I think she beats most of the people. She definitely beats Jonathan, Romeo, Mike. I think there's a good chance she beats Lindsay. I don't know if she can beat Drea or Omar. So when you're in the position to beat most of the cast, but not all of the cast, I think that's one of the best places to be in at this part of the game, because you need people that are going to be targeted before you, but you still need to be able to beat most of the people there and in the end. And I think that person is probably Marianne. It's either Marianne or I think it's Lindsay. I think they're like the most middle of the road threats as far as like I think Dre and Omar are going to be the next ones up, because people still know about a few of Dre's advantages. Like they know about the amulet for sure. Did she tell people about knowledge is power?
I don't think she did tell about
And
that.
people know she has the extra vote, right?
Yeah.
So they know she's got 2 advantages, and she can probably control 1 vote for that, but then her head's on the chopping block. And I feel like Omar is either going to win this game, or he's going to be by far like people are going to catch on. He's going to go. So at that point, I think the biggest threat somehow becomes Marianne, because now she has an idol, and I actually think she's going to play this idol correctly. I think they are finally going to target her at maybe the final 5, and she's going to pull this idol out and blow people's minds.
I hope you're right. I hope she keeps it a secret, because you made a great point. Because even in our games, they're only like, what, 3 to 5 hours a night, and people still run their motor mouths all throughout the night. And this is 24/7. So yeah, people talk a lot.
People just cannot keep their shit to themselves. It's one of my biggest complaints, because I think I'm pretty good about keeping confidence with people, but no one ever else does, and it just frustrates me to no end, as you well know from my confessionals and my history. And I probably say every time I play these games, and probably will say every time I ever play these games, I hate this cast, because
Yes, every single time you hate this.
Every single time I'll say it.
But yeah, I like Marianne's position too. Like I was saying last week, she was the only one I could see, other than Omar, continuing to get further in this game for a while, because everybody else was having this target on their back. I guess Lindsay is another one, though. She's very under the radar, including in her edit. But yeah, Marianne has been in a good spot for the last few episodes.
That's the whole thing. If they showed us more of Lindsay, I think she's playing a winning game. We're getting little tidbits from Marianne. We're getting just enough from her every week. And she's just funny. She's just oozes personality. And like, I feel like at a certain
producers
point,
love that. Even me. So.
I feel like at a certain point, someone like that probably grows on you. Like, she's not getting voted out at this point because she's annoying. It's just not going to happen. So I feel like most of these people here really like her. And here we are. This is why I was defending Mike weeks ago, is that people like you, they're more likely to vote for you.
I agree with that. And I agree that her hardest time would be against Troy and Omar.
Yeah, I mean, but I have a hard time seeing Drea make the end.
Me too.
And Omar's either the Ricard of the season, or Omar is winning the season.
Yep. We might as well talk about him, because he is still number 1. He keeps controlling votes, although this was maybe his least best edit in a while, I think.
I mean, I don't know. I think this was a good episode from him.
It was, but I felt like towards the end they kind of showed him overplaying, and then I was like, he might be starting to become a little bit too much like High himself.
I think that was just that they wanted us to doubt the vote. I don't think he super considered the option. I mean, who doesn't consider their options, right? Everyone considers their options. And as someone who edits seasons, you like to throw some doubt into obvious votes when possible. Yeah. So people are always going to discuss other options, and they're going to a lot of them are probably going to confess about other options, and then you could edit it to make like they're seriously considering it when it was always just going to be like a unanimous or near unanimous high vote, with Romeo doing who the hell knows. um, but if Omar wins this season, it's one of the most just like mafioso, like controlling from the top, strong
Yeah.
games that we've seen in a long time.
It's
And
it's it's similar, like I said, with Shan last season. It's like the only time we saw somebody puppet master win was Tony. So it's
yeah,
like it's hard for me to see it, but maybe you will.
I mean, I'm really enjoying watching Omar. I think he's like the best kind of puppet master where he's just so unsuspecting. Like this like little veterinarian guy, he's funny, like he oozes personality in his confessionals. Like he's the guy who's pulling every string in the game, and he's got a little villainous streak running for him. I love watching this guy play so much, and I
Same.
mean, I'd be very happy if he wins. I don't know if he will. I don't know if he's the most likely to win. I don't know how they'd edit him differently if he was going to win. Like I feel like he's not obvious to casuals. Maybe I'm overthinking it.
Does your mom think he's not running the game?
No, I didn't really. I think she knows he's like controlling shit, but I think she still thinks Jonathan's winning. So
I mean, Omar is still running the game and he is still puppet mastering. But yeah, there was stuff with this edit that made me fearful because I think even Jay, I think his name is, in the comments last week, said maybe he's like the decoy winner, and I could see it for sure. He is like the Ricard because he said, I don't remember what he said. What did he say about this vote? He said something about this vote. He's like, you have to know the exact order or something to vote out, because if not, you could be the next one going home. And I think that maybe, I don't know. I don't think he should have voted out Jonathan, though, right?
you know what we're seeing soon? I think we're seeing the do or die twist soon because they're mirroring the twist from last time. I don't think Omar is going to choose to participate in that challenge, but I could see a world where Omar gets screwed over because of immunity winner and do or die person end up immune, and then he's one of the, like, let's say Jonathan wins immunity and Drea is immune because of do or die. He's the next biggest target. No one's really targeting Mike at this time. Romeo is not going to get targeted. He's probably just a goat at this point. Like I talked about Marianne, she's got her solid 2 or 3 shields above her. It could just fall on Omar, and that's just such a stupid and heartbreaking way for his game to end, because all he needs is not to have those 2 people immune ahead of him, I think, yeah. So that's fun. I think that that could be, if he's the next boot, that's how I could see it happening. That, or he's like final 5 people finally catch on to his game.
Yeah.
I feel like,
I mean, I think if he's going to go, it probably is going to be the next 2 episodes before the finale.
probably.
Or Ricard went out before. When did Ricard go out? 5?
Ricard went out. Did he go out 5?
Yeah, because he was in the finale still.
He went out 5 because it was the last time an idol could be played, and he wanted Xander to idol him, and Xander didn't because he has no guts. Sorry. Imagine that season. I mean, imagine that season if Ricard wins.
That would be a great season. It would be a better season. Maybe not great.
I would just
Imagine that season if Xander actually had guts. Maybe it would have been.
All the casuals, it just heads explode because the guy who killed "Come on in, guys" wins the season. Which again, that's the producers, not Ricard's fault. Die on that hill that the producers pretty much just strong armed him into saying that at the next rebel. And
most of the issues with this show the past 2 seasons have been the producers.
Yeah, you didn't say. That or the people who cooked the pizza. That pizza looked pathetic.
It did look pathetic. Any final thoughts on Omar? I hope he hangs on. I hope he makes it. I hope he wins so I can win the draft, obviously.
Okay, so Boo Boo's got Marianne, obviously. You've got Omar.
Boo Boo has Marianne.
Yeah, that's what I said. Boo Boo's got Marianne. You've got Omar. Aspen has Jonathan and...
Just Jonathan, because
just Jonathan. Ooh.
Fan Guy still has 3 people.
Fan Guy still has Romeo, Lindsay and Drea, and no one has Mike. Okay. I mean, it's kind of sad that Fat Guy has 3 people, and yet I feel like the most likely winner is you or Boo Boo.
I would prefer me or Boo Boo win.
Get Boo Boo on the season 43 podcast.
I will have to. If Marianne wins, you better get Boo Boo on this finale podcast because
She'll probably. I'll be able to talk her into it, but she's not going to turn her camera on.
Well, she could be an audio only. All right. Any final thoughts on the episode overall or the preview? This, Fan Guy and I are talking about the preview. This was the one time this season so far that the preview actually showed the right target going home.
Yeah, see, that's how they keep you on your toes.
1 out of 10 times.
Big move.
1 out of 10 times.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing they're talking about in front of the challenge is the do or die twist.
Yeah, you're right.
So we're probably seeing that next episode, which means we're probably going to see some bullshit. And I swear to God, if this person does the Monty Hall problem correctly and goes home, I'm going to be pissed.
I'm going to be pissed if somebody goes home that way, period.
It's a fucking... I'm sorry.
It's
a bad twist. It's a bad twist. And, I mean, here's the thing, right? You're a player on this season. Are you going to risk the do or die knowing you're competing against Jonathan?
True.
Unless the competition was fucking trivia, I'm not competing against Jonathan in anything.
Yeah, that's not even fair, honestly. Because he almost won the balance comp against the women.
Right. Like, even it up with some trivia, man. That's a classic. Give me Jonathan not knowing that something's a country or something's
and he wouldn't. It would be like the challenge. They do those trivia things on the challenge, and everybody's so dumb.
Yep. They usually wrap them up and drop them in the water. I've watched like 2 or 3 seasons since.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you froze, but I'm glad you watched the show that you won. I was saying before you cut off that I'm glad you watched the show that you won.
Yeah. I mean, I showed up day 1, never having fucking seen the show, and completely misunderstanding the first challenge. Oh, that's a classic. I wouldn't change a single thing about that for anything. That was hilarious.
All right. Well, we will end it there until next week. Thank you for joining me, Mike.